Hey y'all, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? I feel like I haven't really technically been in front of a camera in a minute. I've been working so much that I've been extremely busy. So while there has been some content going up, not really a lot of content for the month of November, November picked up speed for me at work. And so once I've been getting off of work, I have just been extremely tired, y'all, just really, really tired. And so I've been making sure I've been getting to bed on time and really just slowing down and relaxing a bit. But it is almost the end of the year. You know, when you're tiny, you know, you're growing up, you're like, I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to be an adult. And then you become an adult and it's like, please slow down. I need time to slow down. I can't believe it's almost the end of the year. And this year has not been, this year has been a year. I feel like nothing has been like perfection in terms of, and no year's ever going to be perfect, but I don't feel like any year that I've had since 2019 has been like, it's been a smooth sailing year. Every year that I've had since 2019 has been like bumpy as shit. It's just bumpity bump, 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 bump the entire way through. But we made it. We made it. I made it. Y'all have made it, and that's something to be grateful and thankful for, that we've made it through another year. We got to see another year. It's a lot of things in my life are getting put into perspective, and so I think this whole sense of gratitude is a lot different than it's been in the past as I get older. Okay, so here's the thing. This is going to be a little different in terms of reading plans. I have been doing my reading plans, and honestly, y'all, I haven't been doing too bad. Now, November was rough. November, I think I kind of slid into a reading slump for books. My comics, graphic novels, and manga have been okay. I don't think I'm going to reach my 30 and 30 goal, but I've been doing more of that reading than actual physical book reading, and that has just been November. It's just been busy, and so I'm looking for a lot of comfort reading, and that's usually where my comfort reading is. So definitely be sure, as always, if you're interested in talking or hearing me talk about the comics, graphic novels, and manga, be sure to check out my second channel, which I'll link in the card symbol above, which, yes, I will be uploading a video on there tomorrow, which I took a 2-week break from it because I needed to take a 2-week break, but I will be uploading on there tomorrow. So this is going to be a little different because, as you can see from the title of this, you as viewers are going to be choosing my TBR for me for December. Not my entire TBR, but a good portion of my TBR, because I really, and I hate to say TBR because it feels so structured, and I don't do well with structure. You're gonna decide my reading plans for the month of December. I did not know what I wanted to read. I got caught up in making decisions about what I wanted to read and really just could not come across, like, I got stuck. So I thought I would solicit your help, and here's how this is going to work. I'm gonna look over this way because I want to make sure I get my count right. I have several different categories: romance, YA, which is more, let's put it this way, categories, some genres, some age brackets. So we have romance, we have YA, we have some historical fiction, we have some middle grade, and we have some nonfiction. So for each one of those categories, I have 2 books, and we're going to do this kind of like an either or. I'm going to give you the description of both of the books, and in the comments below, in one comment, not multiple comments, y'all, just one comment. For each category, vote for a book that you would like to see me read. The categories with the most votes, or well, the book in the category with the most votes is the book that I'll end up reading in December. Please, I'm going to say this again. Please do not give me multiple comments where you're like, one comment is this, one comment is another one. Try to please keep it in one. It just will be easier for me to tally it up if you keep it in one comment. Somebody is not going to follow instructions because that is life, and I completely get it. Some people are going to be excited, and they're just, that's going to, which is perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm going to go grab the books, talk about the categories, talk about the description of each book, and then I will leave it to y'all to decide. I have a handful more books that I am interested in picking up, but it's not a lot because December I want to be as flexible as possible. It's the holiday season again, y'all. Holiday season is usually when my reading kind of hiccups because I'm more focused on spending time with family and just being out, enjoying friends and doing stuff like that. So I'm not hyper fixated on, reading all the time. This is probably like when my reading takes the biggest hit, November and December. But yes, let's jump into it. Okay, so the first category that we have up is going to be romance. I will tell you, I do have some other romance books planned for the month of December, but I wanted to read one off of my physical shelf and I couldn't necessarily decide between these two. So the first one I have is American Dreamer by Adriana Herrera. This one focuses on two characters by the name of Nesto and Jude. Nesto owns a food truck in New York City and decides to move to upstate New York. Then our second character, Jude, is living on a lake and he meets Nesto and loves Nesto's food and then eventually cannot get enough of Nesto. And so the two of them have to figure out how they're going to be together because Nesto is running that food truck in New York and he kind of hinges his happiness on his business success, and so they have to figure out how to find that good balance. I have heard nothing but great things about American Dreamer, so I'm excited for this one, but there's a second that I'm also excited for. The next one that I have is a Kimani romance, and this is Guarding His Heart by Synethia Williams. This one is about I believe he's an ex-basketball star, or he is a basketball star that's about to end his career, and how he's ending his career is that he wants to take a au natural photo, aka a nude photo, and so the photographer comes, who is our heroine, and the photo shoot ends up ending in a very sensual way, but there is some things that come with his life, namely he has kids from a previous marriage and he has an ex-wife to deal with, and so she's trying to figure out whether she is going to be able to find herself within that mix and within the balance. So for the romance category, we have American Dreamer and then we have Guarding His Heart. Vote. Okay, so the next that we have is the YA category, and both of these are, what can I say? Both of these are fantasy, but I think they're very different on the spectrum of fantasy. The first one that we have is The Merciless Ones, which is the sequel to The Gilded Ones by Namanat Forna. I cannot say anything about this book technically because of the fact that it's a sequel, but if you do end up choosing this one, that means that I will also end up reading The Gilded Ones, which I absolutely loved. I've been meaning to get to these this year, so I'm hoping that maybe this will lean, but I'm also really interested in the second option that I've chosen. But I'm very, 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 very excited about diving back into this world. If you did not know anything about The Gilded Ones, y'all, it's such an amazing book, such an amazing fantasy starter first book in a series. You get what I'm saying. And the second one in the category is Shadow Shaper by Danielle Holzer Older. As you can see, at one point I did start reading this book, but I never got the opportunity to continue it, so I do want to continue this. I will be starting this over from the beginning. This is about a teenage character who is anticipating having a really easy, relaxing summer, and she goes to this party and a corpse ends up showing up. Grandfather ends up really apologizing for whatever's happening, and then she starts to notice that the murals, and I don't know if it's just in Brooklyn or in her neighborhood, in her neighborhood, are starting to weep. And then she realizes that there are these people called shadow shapers, and shadow shapers can basically take ancestral spirits and weave them into like paintings and music, and I believe, stories. But someone's killing the shadow shapers, and the killer of the shadow shapers thinks that she is holding a really huge secret, so she has to kind of go back and understand her family's past. This is a trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I've ever read a Danielle Holzer Older story, but this has been sitting on my shelf for a while. Like I said, I did start it, but I never finished it, so I'm looking forward to possibly, if you vote, picking this one up. So for the YA category, we have The Merciless Ones by Namanat Forna, and then we have Shadow Shaper by Danielle Holzer Older. Vote! Okay, so the next category that I have, I couldn't get that out. The next category that I have is specifically historical fiction. I have not read a historical fiction in a little while, so I've been wanting to pick one up, and I had some historical fiction from Book of the Month that I have been eyeing and wanted to pick up, so I decided to pick two from my Book of the Month shelf. And the first one that I went with is Sisters in Arms by Kaya Alderson. This is a reimagining of the 6,888th, and I don't want to get the battalion name wrong. It's the Central Postal Directory Battalion, the 6,888. And so we have two main characters who are part of the Women's Army Corps, and of course during this time they're going to be dealing heavily with segregation in the military, and they know that they have to navigate it in a way that's different from other women. And it's interesting because not only are we looking at just them being women, but them being Black women, so that's that intersectionality piece that's playing a big role into that. And so they feel as though just that component alone is more difficult than them even having to go through boot camp. So they finally do make it overseas, and they are supposed to be making sure that the American soldiers who are overseas are receiving mail from their loved ones. I'm sure that this is going to be filled with some very, very deep, dark topics, but it's one that I'm interested in. I really do like historical fiction that takes place during a world setting, a war setting, not world, war setting, but is told from the different perspectives that we don't often get historically, which is why I'm such a huge fan of, like, say, like Ruta Sepetys, because of the fact that she focuses on major events in history that people are familiar with, but tells it from a different scope that gives readers more information, like little tidbits of history that a lot of people just don't know. So I think that that's going to be along those lines. The next one that I have is Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge. It's a Greenidge. This is about a young woman that is coming of age during the Reconstruction period in Brooklyn, and she is supposed to become a doctor, but she's more drawn to music, and I think this is kind of a point of tension between her and her mother. And there is some discussion in this, at least based on the summary. It seems like there's some discussion about colorism. Her mother is passing, but she can't. So there is a man who ends up proposing to her, and he is from Haiti. And so she's thinking that if she goes, this will give her the opportunity to kind of explore what it means to be a free Black woman. Unfortunately, when she gets to Haiti, she realizes that she is once again subservient to him and other men. So she's trying to parse what that means, that meaning of being a free Black woman. And I think that there's a lot of detail in this from what my understanding and reviews. There's been a lot of detail about this, and I'm interested in picking it up. It's not that long. I don't know why I thought it was longer than what it was, but it's not as long as I anticipated. But yeah, so for the historical fiction category, we have Sisters in Arm and then Liberty. Vote. So the next category that we have is the middle grade category, and first up we have Last Gate of the Emperor, which is by Kwame Mbale and Prince Joel McConan. This is one that just recently got a sequel, so I've been meaning to pick this up for a while. It focuses on a main character who lives in a city that doesn't really have much technology, but he plays this augmented reality game, and one day he ends up using his real name by accident, ends up triggering this huge attack on the city, and his uncle ends up disappearing. And then all of the stories that his uncle once told him seemingly start to come true. So I think that this is going to be big for, like, maybe fans of sci-fi, which I can get into a good middle grade sci-fi book. So this is one that had been on my radar. And the next one, which I feel like a lot of people are going to vote for because a lot of people have read this and I'm late to the game, and that is Root Magic by Eden Royce. This focuses on two children in the 60s, takes place in South Carolina, and they're twins, and it is about the time for them to start learning root magic, and their grandfather is training them, but then they grow to realize that their family has more capabilities than just, you know, charms and spells and stuff. Like there's more beyond it. So when there's some evil that comes to the area, both real and supernatural, they have to summon up the power they can to kind of fight back against it. I have heard such great things about root magic. I would not be surprised if this one won, but I am interested in reading both titles. So for the middle grade category, we have the Last Gate of the Emperor and then Root Magic. Vote. Okay, so the last category that I have for y'all is going to be the nonfiction category. Both of these are ones that have been on my TBR for a very, very long time. I'm excited to read both of them. There's one that I have a preference for over the other, but I'm going to let y'all decide my fate. The first one is going to be Black Love Matters. This is Real Talk and Romance Being Seen in Happily Ever Afters, edited by Jessica P. Prid. This has information from people like Carol V. Bell, Jasmine Guillory, Deshaun Harrison, Adriana Herrera, Kosoko Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Christina C. Jones, which I'm excited to read her essay in this. But this is a look at the presence of Black love in media. And so there's a lot of history that goes into why positive representation of Black love is so important. And I think that a lot of these authors are going to dive into that information, which is something that I have consistently been fascinated with, especially when it comes to the romance community here and why there are so many people who push for Black romance and for that Black love representation. So I'm interested to see what's going to come of this. And my second pick is Hair Story, Untangling the Roots of Black Hair in America by Ayanna D. Bird and Lori L. Tharps. This is one that I've been meaning to read for a while because I read Twisted by Emma DeBerry a couple of years ago and really enjoyed learning more about the history of Black hair culture. This is a work that Emma referenced in her own research when she wrote that book. And so immediately I went to go pick it up so I could learn a little bit more. This explores Black hair culture, the relationship that Black people have had with their hair from the 15th century up into the present. It explores everything from the banning of Afro pus in 2013 at a school to people shaving their heads because it was a means to hopefully pass as free. So this is the one that I'm hoping that y'all vote for because I am dying to read this book. But as with everything, this is up to y'all, so I'm going to leave it in your hands. Okay, so for the nonfiction category, we have Black Love Matters and then Hair Story. Vote. Okay, y'all, so I only have 4 more things on my list that I kind of want to put on here as an official December reading plans. 2 of them are for that Around the World Reading Challenge, which I have not forgotten about. It has not disappeared, okay? It has not gone anywhere. And what ended up happening, if you haven't been present on any of my live shows lately, you probably don't know. This ended up being a bigger project than I anticipated, and not in a bad way. I have been doing a lot of deep diving and researching and trying new foods and doing all of this stuff, and there's no way that I can do any of this stuff in a month. I can't explore and understand the countries, the culture, the history, everything that I want to, in addition to reading the translated books. I can't do it in a month. It's become much bigger than doing it in a month. So Kathleen had suggested that maybe I think about doing updates once a quarter. So I do want to finish the year with my first update. And of course, because of that, I'm going to be focusing on finishing my translated works from both Venezuela and also from Paraguay. And Panama has been so difficult, but I was able to find some translated short stories online, so I will be reading those. But I did get these 2 books in physical form, and that is It Would Be Night in Caracas and I, the Supreme by Augusto Roa Bastos, which this one is probably going to be the most difficult one for me to make it through, to be honest with you. This is I don't want to say a reimagining, but it's told from the perspective of the supreme dictator for life in Paraguay when he was there in 1814. And I've heard very interesting things about it. This is one of the most read, I think, translated works from Paraguay. It is also very dense with very, very small text. So this is one that I'm going to be starting sooner than later because I feel like it is going to take me a minute to read it. It is over 400 pages and it makes me so nervous and so scared, but that is the point of this project, is to challenge myself. I think that I've been doing heavily more. I've been skewing towards Venezuela during this whole project, to be honest with you. Like, It's been video after video, exploring on YouTube, reading articles, reading nonfiction. It's just been so much. And it literally has taken me that long just to do Venezuela. So I'm hoping that, not rush, but I'm hoping that I can read more, pace myself accordingly, and get this vlog out to y'all by the end of the year. And the last thing, honestly, that I have that I am hoping to get to, because this is my beautifully annotated, which I'm not even that far into the book and the annotations are ridiculous, but I am hoping to continue my reread of, because there's no dust jacket on this, of The Heroes of Olympus. If you did not hear the news, Rick Riordan is releasing another book in the Percy Jackson series in September of next year. So he has all these other books, but the 15 books that are tied to Percy Jackson are Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus, and then Trials of Apollo. Those are the 15 books in the Percy Jackson series. They're all separate series, but they're all connected. And so this next one is going to be following Grover, Annabeth, and Percy their senior year of high school. The way I screamed like I'm a middle grade age kid waiting for the next Percy Jackson book was absolutely ridiculous. I have read Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the series, twice. I've read Heroes of the Olympus once, and I have not read Trials of Apollo yet. But I need to make it through my reread of Heroes of Olympus because I don't remember enough to jump right into Trials of Apollo, and I feel like pacing myself and getting through this series and Trials of Apollo will make me prepared and ready for September's release. Y'all, the way that it is such an issue, like Barnes & Noble has a limit on how many copies of that book you can order because I know the demand is about to be out this world. It's going to be ridiculous. I am so excited. I'm like a child on Christmas. I'm so excited, but I do have, I'm hoping to get through a good portion of The Lost Hero this month as well. All right, y'all. So yes, please make sure, please keep your votes. If you can, please keep your votes at the one comment. Let me know which books you would rather see me read or you prefer to see me read in the month of December. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. If you're interested in supporting the channel, follow me on social media. All the links will be down in the description box below, and I'll be back with another video soon.